What's going on, everybody? Chris Lotus here, and we are into the third month of Samurai Shodown Season 1, which means the character that I was the most hyped for is finally out, Basara the Executioner. I've been in training mode with him for about a couple of minutes now. Would play some matches, but I don't want to get carried away because I actually have work in roughly an hour and a half. But coming back to Samurai Shodown, especially after playing a whole bunch of Indivisible, I just remembered there was a video that I wanted to do, and that was my predictions on who I think the remaining 3 characters in Season 2 are going to be. There haven't been any data minings or leaks far as we know, or maybe somebody data mined and they didn't find anything, so it is kind of a mystery in this case for once, seeing in this day and age stuff gets leaked out, especially if it's been pre-planned. Many people are looking to the Dengeki poll to see who might make it, but interestingly, I'm pretty sure the poll isn't entirely telltale, because if you look at the first season, 2 characters, specifically Wanfu and Kazuki Kazama, weren't even in the top 10. Kazuki was in 16th and Wanfu hit 13th, which out of 69 characters actually isn't bad, but I'm pretty sure in most cases people would consider the top 10 characters, especially seeing that we have a total of 5 characters in Season 1. So with all that being said, these are my predictions on the remaining Samurai Shodown Season 2 characters. Keep in mind that these are not people that I personally would like to see to a degree. Spoiler. But this is who I feel is actually going to make it. I'm going to try to see if I can call it way before we get there, because if you recall the trailer, Season 2 isn't going to begin until 2020, next year. So, my first Season 2 character prediction is Iroha. Iroha has a lot of factors that will surely pave the way for a future inclusion in this game. For starters, and the most obvious, if you look at the poll, she placed 2nd. Now I know what you're probably thinking, oh, nobody remembers 2nd place, and 2nd place doesn't matter. And to a degree, you're right. Now, bear in mind, this example is including a different company and a different game, but just to give you that, let's look at Injustice Gods Among Us. In that poll, of course we know Zatanna was the #1 pick, and right below her was Static. And we didn't see Static in that game. The main one, at least. He was in the mobile game, which you and I more than likely agree doesn't count. In this case though, I feel like it'll work out differently. I say that because SNK is actually pretty good at giving the fans what they want within reason. And if you don't believe me, the company themselves even acknowledged how popular she is. Kuroki had this to say about her popularity. The development side is very aware of her popularity. This is my own personal opinion, but I didn't want her to be part of the launch roster. It's similar to how Yuri Sakazaki didn't appear in the Art of Fighting series until the 2nd game. In that, we don't want to give the new Samurai Shodown that type of image right off the bat. His use of the word image there, I'm fairly confident that is a reference to Iroha's sexually suggestive nature, and seeing that the current Samurai Shodown game has a very serious overtone, so I can kind of see where he was coming from with that. Also, there was talk about even if they were to take away these elements from Iroha, she wouldn't be herself anymore, so they're kind of in a little bit of a limbo with her. But I feel like this is going to be one of those times where SNK is going to give the fans what they want. Like, for example, let's go to a more recent game, another one, if we will, King of Fighters 14. All of the DLC for the most part for that game were characters that people were asking for from the beginning when they didn't see them on the main roster. Blue Mary, Yamazaki, Rock Howard. All of these characters for the most part, with the exception of Najed, were characters that people were asking for in the beginning. I wouldn't put it past SNK to do it again, especially seeing like how well Samurai Shodown is doing right now. Me personally, I've never felt one way or another about Iroha. Don't love her, don't hate her, it was just like, eh. Also, one final note, Iroha has the protagonist factor on her side as well. Looking at the current Samurai Shodown roster and future additions that we already know about, it seems like they're pretty keen on bringing back all of, if not most of, the series' mainline protagonists. Haomaru, come on now, you know this. We got Yoshitora on the main roster. Shizamaru just got added, and Kazuki Kazama is right around the corner, next month to be exact. Why not Iroha? Now you could also argue, with that being said, Andrew should also have a free ticket in. Another character I wasn't too crazy about one way or another, but like I said, based on this idea, it's some solid reasoning. But yeah, I feel like Iroha is an easy pick. I feel like she's guaranteed to make it one way or another. With all these factors, I am 95, let me slap on 2 more percent, 97% sure that Iroha will pop up in season 2. My next character prediction is Sogetsu Kazama. This might be the boldest and most out there prediction that I have, because Sogetsu really doesn't have all that much going for him like Iroha does. For starters, he placed even lower in the poll than his red Oni counterpart Kazuki, landing somewhere in the early 20s. Now, landing in the early 20s is not that bad once again when you consider it was 69 characters to choose from. But when you put him next to all the other notable higher placements, he seems kinda doomed and seems kind of out of the question. However, I feel like he'll make it, and here's why. Once again, the protagonist factor is on his side. Him and Kazuki were of course co-protagonists in Samurai Shodown 4. On top of that, I feel like this is one matter in which it would feel so wrong to not have one without the other. Call it something of a sibling factor if you wanna, because let's take that and apply it elsewhere. Rimururu is in season 1. Now, obviously that's not the reason why they did that. Rimururu also placed in the top 10 at number 6, so she had a lot more going on for her than just, hey, I'm her sister, you can't have her without me. I will admit that this is kinda wishful thinking, because I really do like Sogetsu. Kazuki and them both are actually really cool characters. And I really feel like his style will actually translate super well with this game and its art style. Like, I feel like he would be a really good fit. He also has one more thing going on for him, but I will get to that at the end. With that being said, my final character prediction is Chomp. Chomp also had the fans on her side, as the polls had her up at number 4, which out of 69 characters, once again, that is really good. It's funny how I just mentioned the whole sibling thing, and yet this could also apply to her, with Big Brother Tom already on the roster. Also, I feel Chomp's uniqueness would be a really great addition to the series. I'll also admit that I'm a fan of this character as well. Like, we've all seen boomerangs in fighting games one way or another, but never did I figure that they would have somebody, especially a small cat girl, whacking a bunch of these super serious, edgy samurai with it. Her unique and kind of bouncy aura also might be a curse for her, in the sense that, as with Iroha, they really didn't want the game to have a certain image, and once again I feel like the use of the word image by Kuroki suggests that he didn't want any bright and colorful characters, when of course, once again, Samurai Shodown has a very serious tone to it. But at the same time, there's always been those 1 or 2 characters that have a unique aura that sets them apart from the rest of the roster. I love the direction that Samurai Shodown is going right now with its roster and its overall tone and its look, but I don't think throwing in Chomp would actually mess the game up. We got little cutesy Rimururu. What harm could a super whimsical, bubbly, bouncy little Chomp do to a roster? Not that much. However, we do run into another problem with Chomp, and that's in terms of her combat, and it kind of conflicts with what we currently have going on in Samurai Shodown right now, and that is of course her partner Paku, which for those of you who aren't Samurai Shodown nerds know, that is actually Tom transformed as punishment. So how will they go about that? I mean, I know reality and story consistency isn't really pivotal when it comes to like the competitive scene, but it's just a thought. It might not mean all that much. Like I said, Chomp has good placing on her side, and also one more thing that Chomp might have on her side, and this also applies to Iroha as well, and that is the fact that if you look at season 1, we only had one female character in it. Only one. So possibly SNK might pull the opposite here and have mostly females and one male character, thus also why I threw in Sogetsu. Of course, like I mentioned, that's just wishful thinking. It could be another male character, it could be Seeger, it could be Genon. Who knows? But that's just another thing that I feel like they might pull. Some people might like the idea of that, some people won't. I actually wouldn't mind. Just as long as everybody's playstyle is interesting, I'm all for it. Also, I've been hearing talk of people asking and wondering whether or not SNK will pull a Shizamaru with this season as well. And what I mean by that is adding in another free DLC character. And I feel like they might, if and only if the game is still doing well. Now, that might not have to be a factor for it. They might just do that to try to pull some fans back in, but I feel like the game will have to be doing well for that to go down. And also, there are people talking about they need to put a guest character in Samurai Shodown. It depends on who you choose. That's all I gotta say about that. Me personally, if there was some other poll that they put out where they allow people to pick from guest characters, I would probably vote for... I'd probably say Siegfried from Soul Calibur. Like, I know a lot of people might not like that pick, but I mean, hey, with Haomaru set to guest in Soul Calibur 6, who knows, they might pull a reverse, I don't know. Once again, more wishful thinking, I love Siegfried. But that's basically it. I want to know your thoughts. Who do you think is going to be in Samurai Shodown Season 2? Do you think there's going to be a surprise addition to this season as well? And if there was a guest character coming in, who would you like to see? Let me know in the comments, discuss it. I'm interested to see what everybody else's predictions are. You all take care, and I will catch you next time. See ya!